At this time, I'd like to have a motion for your approval of the minutes for the executive session for February 27th and March 6th. So moved. Second.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Dentino?
Yes.
Mrs. Fritz?
Yes.
Mr. Gibbons?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilch?
Yes.
Mr. Marks?
I'm going to abstain February 27th, yes on March 6th.
Mrs. Reese?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Johnson?
Yes. Can I have a motion, please, for board minutes, regular meeting February 27th and workshop meeting March 6th? So moved. Second.
No trees.
Mrs. Dentino?
Yes.
Mrs. Fritz? Yes. Mr. Gibbons?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilch?
Yes.
Mr. Marks?
I'm going to abstain February 27th and yes to March 6th.
Mrs. Reese?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Johnson?
Yes. At this time, we're going to get ready for public comment on agenda items only.
We would request that anyone who's speaking at either public portion, please step up to the front here so that there are microphones that can pick you up so that everyone may hear both on the stream and for the board. And to ensure that everyone gets a chance to speak, individual comments are limited to 3 minutes.
Yes.
Come on up, just walk up here.
The microphones are on the desk.
Looking over the agenda, I am pleased that the board has addressed the dress policy. The only thing that I would kindly suggest that maybe the board thinks about is shoes. So even though the district is elementary and middle school, you have some cool elementary kids who can wear heels better than I can. And this is as high as I go. But can you imagine a kindergarten kid wearing high heels? It happens, I'm telling you. And it's just a safety issue, you know. So I think it needs to be addressed. So therefore, you know, we don't have kids with sprained ankles, rolling ankles. And also our kids don't get changed for gym. So they're wearing these cute booties, but yet it's 1-2 inch heels. And that's not really safe for our kids to be running around in. But that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, Mr. Philbin.
Mr. Phillips,
You step to the middle chair, just for the microphone purposes, thank you.
from Glen Oaks section. I commend you on editing this calendar. I like it, Mr. Doga.
Oh.
Thank you.
Welcome, Mr. Phillips.
All right,
Thank you.
now, as a teacher of a middle schooler, I have 2 questions about policy 6.36. When you say jackets are not to be worn in school, define the hoodie with the zippy. I'm 36 years, I've been here. All right, back in the day, administrator used to enforce this. Clarify this for me. If it zips all the way down, is that considered a jacket? Or is it a hoodie? There's hoodies that you pull over your head and there's hoodies you zip. Previous administration have said if it zips all the way, put it in your locker. Now it's up in the air what we're if I know it's fashionable, but is that addressed? A hoodie you put over your head? You see what I'm saying? Okay,
That's
so
how I defined it was, you know.
say again.
So that's how I defined it, was a hoodie was something you pull over, you didn't.
No, these kids wear zip up things and then they get puffier and puffier and puffier and they say, this is my hoodie. It's not, they get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then they're like, they wear it all the time. They can wear it 20 degrees below 0 or 80 degrees above. They'll wear that same hoodie. So do we have clarification on what constitutes a jacket and what constitutes the hoodie? It sounds nitpicky, but the kids need to know.
Agreed.
You wouldn't be nitpicky, Chip.
Previous administration did it.
So a hooded sweatshirt that had a zip from the collar
All
to
the
the
way.
waist
If that
was considered a jacket.
It was
But if
like,
you pulled it over like Mr. Gibbons had said, over with no zip it,
It's a
and it
hoodie.
just had, pockets,
they
right?
counted that. They
That
could wear
was a hoodie,
Right.
okay,
That's okay, right?
well, we're gonna
Over
have
your
to
head, yeah. We said
perhaps,
We'll have to take a peek at that again.
yeah, our
We'll take a-
Our policy chairperson is not here
Because I'm
tonight,
in the
but the
trenches.
policy
I
committee
need to know
members are
about-
hearing it. Yes, we're gonna have to, I think between the first and second reading, we'll try to get clarification and perhaps tweak it.
now. I know you have the word do-rag or something, the kids now, this is a new phenomenon I'm getting. They wear this neck thing that goes around their neck,
Gator,
what?
a gator,
It's, well, I thought it was a gator, it flips all the way over their head and it's a ski mask. They're wearing them now,
Well, there's
It's
not
just-
supposed
it's a-
to be hats. So.
no, they're wearing it as a gator.
Okay,
Until something happens, and then all of a sudden it flips up and over, covers the whole thing. It's like one of those morphing outfits, that thin material.
I understand.
I don't know why the kids are buying these. I don't know, but they have them on. They're around their neck. It covers their entire
If
face.
you had one of these on, what would you call it? A ski mask?
Yes, but they don't wear it to school as a ski
I'm
mask.
just asking what
It's a-
you would call
A ski mask,
it. Okay,
a face covering. It shouldn't. I should be able to see their face.
yeah, yeah,
But I'm just, it's a new phenomenon. I'm telling you, I never saw these before. This year, first time.
Thank you.
okay, thank you.
All right?
Thank
Thanks
you.
for the calendar. Great seeing you.
So I do think in the spirit of the policy that the policy committee worked many hours on and the whole board spoke of. It does talk about hoodies and they have hoods down, correct?
Oh,
I-
yeah,
I
we
wouldn't
and we
think-
enforce that.
I would think in the
here, but
spirit of it, not certainly the committee will weigh in and the board will. Anything that would constitute something that would mimic a hood would be out of bounds, in my opinion. But the policy committee would have.
And that's something you could tweak between your.
Yes. Okay, thank
Let me
you.
just say the Rip Jean thing, I thought was gonna have a lot of pushback. It didn't. It came and we made it more of a thing than it did. The children were mature enough. They were in my little. They complied. You said, okay, they complied, and I commend you for setting the record straight on that.
Thank you.
That,
School administrators, and staff were combined, did a very good work.
and that takes all of you to do that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chip,
Kudos
thank
to
you.
guys.
Thank you, Chip. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak on agenda items only? Seeing none, thank you. Mr. Long, could we have a report of the solicitor, please?
Sure, there were a lot of items in exec and we have a lot more to go in a second executive session, so I'll talk to you all about it.
Thank you. Mr. Bilodeau, report of the superintendent, please.
Yeah, Mrs. Johnson, good evening, members of the board, good evening, members of the public, welcome to Glen Lanning Middle School. Good evening to everyone. I do want to ask for a consent resolution. However, that would exclude an item. As Mr. Long said, I do want to speak to the Board of Education briefly about item 6.4D, as in David. I am not withdrawing it. I would just prefer to speak to the Board of Education.
To the side.
Put it to the side. It may be revisited under new business this evening. So with that said, if I could ask for a consent resolution for items 6.2A through 6.6L, excluding 6.4D.
Is that amended then?
No, just, it's the motion.
Can I have a motion, please, to approve 6.62 to 6.6,
L,
L.
excluding 6.4.
excluding 6.4E?
D, as in David.
So moved.
Second.
Who was
It was
the,
D.
who was the first, please?
D.
Mrs. Reese and Mr. Marks.
Oh,
Ellen
Okay.
Reese first, Mr. Mark second.
Thank you.
Mrs. Dentino.
We
Do
need
you have any
questions.
questions?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Any questions,
I-
discussions?
I have a question. 6.6 personnel. I see there is a retirement of a paraprofessional nurse aide at JW Lilly. Is that person going to be replaced?
Yes, I would say with the population size. It's JW, yes, I would say that based upon some of the things that the district's been experiencing, I wouldn't be comfortable with not replacing a nurse's aide in any of our buildings.
So as I stated at the last meeting, can we be proactive on this? And try to find somebody sooner than later before the new school year starts, so we have someone?
The human resource supervisor will be on it tomorrow.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else with questions or discussion?
I have another one on 6.6E. I just want to thank you for clarifying when there is staff that are going on professional development, that it is now on here what they're going for, so that no one will have any questions on why they're going. So it is on here.
That's a good format. Mrs.
So,
Cavallaro did that.
yes, so I'd really like to thank, I know I'm one of the people that always asked what the professional development was, so they do now have on here what it's for, so I want to thank you for doing that.
May I expand on that a little bit and maybe request we know where it is? So if someone puts in there for professional development in, I don't know, California or Cancun, can we know like where it's located?
Can we go with
Yes.
that?
And can we
No,
go if it's in
no.
Cancun? Oh.
But.
Trying to keep you.
And then Donald, there are specific rules on that type of D-Day. The assumption is it's going to occur in New Jersey, because if it's out of state, not only does the Board of Education need to approve it, but the county executive superintendent
Perfect.
has to, and she may overrule what the board says.
Okay, that's good enough then. Perfect, thank you.
Anyone else? Mrs. Forsythe, roll call, please.
Mrs. Dentino. Yes. Mrs. Fritz. Yeah. Mr. Gibbons.
Yes.
Mrs. Gilch. Yes. Mr. Marks.
Yes.
Mrs. Reese.
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donnell.
Yes,
Mrs. Johnson.
Yes. Mrs. Forsythe, could we please have the report of the business administrator?
I would like a consent resolution for the approval of item 7.1 through 7.7.
E.
D, E,
E.
E.
Anyone have questions? I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Long, point of order.
Yes.
Kathy, excuse me. Under item 7.7D, the approval of the tentative school budget for the 23-24 school year. On page 2 of your report, where it begins, be it resolved that the public hearing on the budget will occur on the 24th of April. That date is not certain at this point. We can leave it as is tonight, Mr. Long, if we need to re-advertise for the public hearing on the budget.
Yeah, you just
There's
have to,
something coming up in new.
just have to re-advertise, yes.
Okay, all right, just want to let you know.
Should we pull that or not?
No,
No.
leave it. You check.
yes.
Do you
And
have
the
an
victim
alternate date?
This may be revised.
Under new business, I'll be recommending that we move the April meeting from the 24th, which is currently advertised, to the 17th of April. I will not be able to be in attendance on the 24th. Since the public hearing was also the same night, my recommendation to the board is that they consider either May 1st or May 8th. I would suggest humbly that the board choose May 1st at the board office and begin it at 6 p.m. And we can re-advertise it, but that would be a discussion on who would be available to come.
Thank you.
Okay,
Roll call, please.
Questions?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we did. Anyone with questions or discussion?
I do. Mr. Bilodeau, I sent you an email regarding check number 129103. It was the, Pinoni itemized invoice, regarding the fire, thingy. At Glendora,
Yeah,
Glendora, yeah, the fire thingy.
fire alarm
Thank you.
inspection.
Perfect. Are we pursuing options to be reimbursed for that amount?
From the vendor?
Yes.
Yes, we are
Okay,
pursuing. I'll have to give you an update.
perfect.
Okay?
Another question. Check number 129046 is for municipal supplies. Where do we see that money coming back in from the township?
We are in a shared service arrangement. Okay, so we are kind of the big brother and we order the supplies, we warehouse them, and then we dish them out to the township. And at some point, when we pay the bill, then we create invoice, the business office creates invoices and then sends them to the business office of the township of Gloucester, and they reimburse us. It's a washing effect because of the shared service agreement.
Okay, got it. Okay, I think
Anyone-
that's all for me.
Anyone else?
Thank you, Mrs. Johnson.
Mrs. Forsythe, roll call, please.
Mrs. Dentino. Yes. Mrs. Fritz.
Yeah.
Mr. Gibbons.
I'm gonna abstain on check 129029. And I'm gonna vote no on the invoice 1157166 for check number 129103. I'm gonna vote no on 129100, 128976, and yes on the balance.
I'm just gonna ask that you do that again really
Yeah,
slowly.
slowly.
I'm so sorry.
Starting at the beginning.
Yeah, yeah, well, no, I got the abstain check number.
No, I didn't. I didn't.
129029.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
1, 2,
Abstain on 129029. And no on check 129103, but specifically only on invoice 1157166. Also on 129100,
That's a no.
no. And also no on 128976. Yes on the balance.
Ready? Mrs. Gilch.
no on 128976, and yes on the balance.
Mr. Marks.
Yes.
Mrs. Reese.
No on 128976 and yes on the balance, please.
Mrs. O'Donnell.
I am no on 128976. 129103. And yes on the balance.
Mrs. Johnson.
Abstain on check number 128986. Yes on the balance.
Thank you.
So 128976 did not pass.
We had 4.
We have
Three.
three.
That's a problem.
Because that's special
services.
Four.
We had 3 no's and 1 abstention.
I have Mr. Gibbons,
Oh, yeah.
Mrs. Gilch, Mrs. Reese.
And that-
Okay, there's
that was
4
it.
4
No,
no's and
three.
1 abstention.
You're right.
There was 3 no's.
3 no.
3 no's on 128976.
Still pass, okay, thank you.
I have,
No.
I have,
No.
Oh,
I have 4 no's.
I
have 4 no's too.
I
I have 4
4, right?
I have 1.
So
So that did not pass.
that did not pass.
Oh,
That's a
Keith,
problem.
it's over here.
Yep.
Sorry.
We have 4.
It is a problem.
That is, we're in a margin. We got 4. Yep.
I have an issue.
It
I have
passed.
an issue with that because
Yeah,
that's for
I
the
w-
special needs. of the kids getting services in this district. So for that check not to be paid, I have an issue with it.
I'll change my no to a yes for that.
Thank you, Mr. Gibbons.
Let it
I was
pass.
absolutely gonna do the same thing. Mr. Gibbons changed his no to a yes.
Okay, thank you.
Which
Thank
is
you,
for-
Mr.
which he's
Gibbons.
allowed to do public.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
I agree.
I know, it's a,
No.
you know,
Yes.
We get it.
We've been doing it,
Right.
but
Okay,
Old business.
all right, for old business.
I
We'll
appreciate
start with our- Mr. Bilodeau, any old business, please? Okay, okay, under new business.
Under new business, this, we have a couple of things. Let's start with, Mrs. Johnson had forwarded to my office. Both district and board goals. I believe the Board of Education is received as in. There are 4 each, and I believe you want a resolution. From the board to approve
That's right.
them.
Yes, please.
Okay, so I would need a resolution on that, and there's also,
We do them separately.
you want to do them separately?
I think it would be a good.
Okay, so on the first item, Mr. Long, I would need a motion. And a second and a roll call on
The goals as listed.
the 22-23 goals as listed. Anyone in the public wants it, there are some left here.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Who made the motion? please?
Mr. Gibbons.
Keith and Mrs. Reese.
It was Grace. Thank you.
and what was this one?
Can we have a roll call, please? This is
Any
for the
questions?
goals.
District goals, correct?
Questions?
Tino.
No, I'm
Wait,
sorry.
we have to do
Questions,
questions.
discussion.
Keith and, I have one question. Since these are going in late and we normally redo them in like June or July, does it hurt us with CUSAC that we're possibly putting in a goal late that we can't possibly achieve in 3 months?
No, because these goals here we'll be changing them or adding
Right,
on when we meet again for the other year.
just want to make sure it doesn't hurt us.
If we didn't do them, we would have been with CUSAC.
Okay, thank you.
Just have to do them twice relatively quickly.
Okay,
Anyone else with questions or discussion? Thank you. Can I have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Dentino.
yes,
Mrs. Fritz. Mr. Gibbons.
Yes.
Mrs. Gilch.
Yes.
Mr. Marks.
Yes.
Mrs. Reese.
Yes,
Mrs. O'Donnell.
Yes.
Mrs. Johnson.
Yes.
Okay,
we pass.
thank you.
Because it's Monday.
I move to approve the board goals.
We do both.
They're both.
No,
They're
they-
both-
we
they're
don't do
both-
the
Oh, I
same.
thought you said.
I thought
we're
they
doing
said
separate.
No, we're doing
The
two
other
separate resolutions. We're doing the goals is one resolution.
Oh,
And the resolution.
so
of
the
Mrs.
district
Johnson-
and the board was together.
Yes, that
Got
was
it.
together, but we're doing a second resolution.
Oh,
Mrs. Johnson will be
yes.
explaining.
Okay,
oh,
Yes,
so that was for the same.
at our workshop meeting, I had asked to have a resolution for something called Adriana's Law. So, Mr. Long very kindly helped me with this. And I would like to read this and then we will take a vote, please. Whereas the Gloucester Township Board of Education resolution urging state legislators to enact Adriana's Law. Whereas the Gloucester Township Board of Education is committed to providing a safe, secure environment for all students in all schools, free of bullying, violence, and other forms of harassment. And whereas the state of New Jersey enacted the Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights Act in 2011 to prevent and eliminate harassment, intimidation, and bullying in school. And further to encourage anti-bullying programs in schools. And whereas while the intention of the Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights Act is well placed, its application has not effectively prevented nor eliminated harassment, intimidation, and bullying in schools. Whereas, given the forms of communication and social media available to our youth today, harassment, intimidation, and bullying has become pervasive and seemingly never ending. And whereas the tragic passing of Adriana Coach, a 14-year-old in Berkeley, New Jersey, who was physically attacked by a group of other students while walking the hallways in school, and whose assault was captured on video by other students. And whereas these videos were shared repeatedly among students, forcing Adriana to relive her victimization and the emotional pain associated therewith. And whereas the constant reminder of her attack via the repeated sharing of her assault fueled Adriana's decision to take her life just 2 days after the physical assault. And whereas this horrible tale has brought attention to the evils of communication and social media available to our youth and the lack of repercussions for sharing and sending of such videos and messages. Whereas the Gloucester Township Board of Education is deeply concerned by the pervasive social media bullying by our youth and believe we must stand together to protect them. And whereas the Gloucester Township Board of Education calls upon its legislatures to enact Adriana's Law, which would impose legal consequences for people who videotape and or share an assault of a minor student via text or social media. And whereas the Gloucester Township Board of Education believes that such a law would prevent the re-victimization of minors and protect and prevent future tragedies. Now therefore be it resolved by the Gloucester Township Board of Education as follows. 1, that the Gloucester Township Board of Education calls upon its legislators to enact Adriana's Law and impose legal consequences to those who video and or share videos of physical attacks on minors. 2, that the Gloucester Township Board of Education supports any efforts made by its legislators to address the pervasive harassment, intimidation, and bullying within schools. 3, that the Gloucester Township Board of Education is ready, willing, and able to reevaluate protocols, review policies, and increase facilities within our school buildings. And 4, that the board secretary shall send a certified copy of the resolution to Governor Phil Murphy, Congressman Donald Norcross, Senate President Nicholas Scutari, Assembly Speaker Craig Coughlin, Senator Fred Madden, Assemblyman Paul Moriarty, and Assemblywoman Gabriella Mosquera. Could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second,
Thank you.
poor Mrs. Bruce,
Got it.
doesn't matter.
Just by a nose.
We're
we
considered
got
the
it.
same sometimes anyway.
Any questions or discussion?
Thank you for chasing that down, Mrs. Johnson. I could literally see the emotion in the audience. And Mr. Long, thank you for putting that together.
Okay, could I have a roll? Anyone else?
No, thank you.
Can I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Duke, Mrs. Dentino,
Yes.
Mrs. Fritz,
Yes.
Mr. Gibbons.
Yes.
Mrs. Gilch.
Yes.
Mr. Marks,
Yes.
Mrs. Reese.
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donnell,
Yes.
Mrs. Johnson.
Yes. Thank you.
Your new name.
Stop.
At this time,
What's it?
Had initials.
Okay.
I wrote initials down.
at this time, we're going to open the floor. Please remember that we need 3 minutes. We will have to cut you off if it goes too long. There's a lot of people here, and I don't know how many of you want to speak, but I want to give everybody a chance. So, and also remember, if you could come up to the front so we can pick it up on the microphone, please. Is there anyone that would like to speak? you don't mind. If I read. No.
No, of course.
Good evening. Hi, my name is True Lawrence. I'm a 12-month secretary at Ann Mullen Middle School, and I have 22 years plus vested in the Gloucester Township School District. I understand that and appreciate that the board is proposing a $5 an hour pay increase to my colleagues, the bus drivers. And I greatly appreciate that you're recognizing the importance of a living wage and the value of a competitive salary. I hope that you can appreciate that it takes every hut in this village to support and meet the needs of our students and our parents. I'm asking you as my elected Board of Education to recognize the valuable contributions of the secretaries, the paraprofessionals, our food service associates, and the custodial and maintenance associates as equally important members of this village that deserve a competitive salary. Why don't you care about us? Thank you.
Thank you for listening to me.
What's your name, please?
My name is Betty Ann Robert. I'm a 12-month secretary at Union Valley Elementary School. I've been working in this district for 15 years. I am a loyal, committed, responsible professional. I understand that you offered to increase the bus drivers to $5 an hour. Good for them. They deserve it. Like I said, we all deserve it. Again, what about me? Why don't you care about me? Thank you for your.
My name is Angus Dorinio. I am the principal secretary at Lawrence Fleming, and I have been working in this district for 12 years. I too understand that you wanted to increase the salary of the bus drivers, and I agree. But I am a dedicated professional, loyal to this district. Why don't you care about me? Good evening. My name is Allison Stauffenberg. I had worked in the Gloucester Township School District for 15 years. I started as a 101 aide, then went to a paraprofessional, and last 6 years as a vice principal secretary here at Glen Landing. Unfortunately, I had to resign from my position this past Friday, mostly due to my salary. My husband passed away 2 months ago. He was the breadwinner of our family. I did not have to worry about how my mortgage or any other household bills were getting paid. His salary took care of all of that. After my husband's passing, I had to take a long look at how I was going to be able to afford to still live in our house, still pay all of our household bills, and have a little extra money to put aside for a rainy day. It just couldn't be done on my salary of $23,864. That's right, $23,864.
Very sad.
The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services provided the poverty guidelines for 2023. They are online. For a family of 3, which that's what we were, the poverty guideline is $24,860. So I was making $1,000 under the poverty guideline. I also know that there are a lot of other men and women in this room who are making less than I am and have a larger family. That's just an injustice. My salary was the reason I was forced to resign from the job I enjoyed. For having to leave the staff I truly enjoyed working with. I am leaving a job that offered me almost $20,000 more than what I was making here. You'll never find a more dedicated, hardworking group of people than you have here in Gloucester Township. All I'm asking is that if you are considering giving more money to one of the support staff, you need to give it all to the support staff. Paraprofessionals, secretaries, custodians, cafeteria, all of them. What about them?
Anyone else?
Hi, Dina Rodriguez, paraprofessional here at one Unit. But I'm speaking tonight as the president of the Gloucester Township Sport Professionals Association. I want to speak about the events regarding the increase in the bus driver salary. Mr. Bilodeau contacted me last summer in July and said that he wanted to increase the bus driver salary. So me being new, have a new executive board with me. I said, I have to call them. This was a Thursday. I said, I have to call them and, let them know what's going on. So I did. Then I called Mr. B back and said, we have a counter to give to you. The counter was presented, I guess, to the transportation committee. And they said they just wanted to deal with the bus drivers only. I had said, well, you have 7 other departments in this association. It's not just the bus drivers. I want to represent them. I have to represent the secretaries, the powers, the cafeteria, maintenance, warehouse, everybody. You got good people here, really good people here that want to stay here. Nobody wants to leave. We want to stay put. We're just asking to be fair. That's all. Like Allison said, I don't want her to leave. I hate change. I despise change. I'm very old school. But I think you have to look at, it's 2023 now. Things have gone up. It's cost of living. Everything's gone up. We're like in the basement of everything. And I'm asking, you need to put us at the penthouse. We'll get there eventually. Oh, again, well, but we'll get there. But put us in the middle. Put us on like the top, like in the middle floor. So we're at least comparable or compatible with the other districts around here. Well, just be fair. Computer work. I don't need comparisons of other.
Thank you. Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening. My name is Dorothy Hope DeLeo, and I work at Union Valley Elementary School. I've been an employee of the district for 36 years. I became a widow at 34 and a half. My husband died at 37. I raised my children by myself. I started working with the district when my daughter went in kindergarten. She's now 40 years old. To say I never made a living wage, never. I came to the district, I needed a job, my husband was sick, I was forced to go to work. He could not work. I was not contracted for several years, and then I did become contracted. And the benefits are wonderful, but the wages. We need to make more money. We come to work every day, we do our jobs. It's our second family. There's such a camaraderie going on, at least at Union Valley. I worked at Gloucester Township Elementary for 10 years, Lilly for 4, and Union Valley since the day we opened. No one wants to leave their job. This is our home. It's our second home. And you do have a bunch of wonderful employees. I mean, we are a great bunch, and we mesh well together. We deserve more than we have, and I just wanted to say that. And we need to think of all the paraprofessionals, the cafeteria, the maintenance, the custodials, the one-on-ones. We need to do more for the good people that you have working for this district. And that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Anyone else?
My name's Kimberly Champion. I don't need a microphone for those of you who know me, but I'll come up here. I'm a 22-year teacher veteran within my profession. 18 years have been here in Gloucester Township. And as a testament to our teachers in our schools, I taught here for 10 years before I bought my home. So I brought my kids here because I wanted them to have that experience. Let me tell you about me. I'm the teacher, obviously, that everybody hears before they see me. I'm the teacher that shows up at games in the community. I'm the teacher that shows up and follow my kids to high school, colleges, marriages, and at this point, even their babies. I am the chicken teacher, even though I've tried to escape that every year. I am the teacher who carols science songs from class to class during the holidays. I'm the teacher who laughs and cries with the kids as well as my colleagues. I'm the teacher who sings so very loudly and so very off-key in the hallway when kids aren't in their classrooms because I know that'll send them running back to their rooms. I have always been the teacher who comes to school. But over the last 5 years, I've started coming to work. I'm frustrated. I've kept quiet because as a teacher, we have a different set of standards. We can't necessarily complain about some of the things we know because we get questioned about it possibly during our workday. But I've had enough. My first concern is the current schedule. Are you aware that in this 6-day rotation, during a 5-day work week, we found out 3 days before kids walked in with book bags packed that their schedule was changing? Are you aware that we were given a survey that was sent to us by upper administration that forced us to pick a suggestion before we could voice our opinion about the schedule we were given? Have you seen the results of the survey? Because we haven't. It made the scientific part of me weak with how unscientific and totally biased that survey was. And as a parent, it concerns me. My daughter started as a middle school student this year, and let me tell you, she's lighting the world on fire. But in her academic classroom, she is formally being evaluated for 22 or 23 days, and that's it. That's all she has each marking period to have her performance evaluated, and they're not consecutive days. How is she supposed to remain and retain the information in between? For those of you who aren't familiar, I have copies of the schedule that my daughter has to follow and how long she has to retain information in between those cycles. And I made them on my own computer, not here. My second concern is the time in our classroom with 84 minutes. My college classes lasted 84 minutes. And we've asked repeatedly as teachers to please consider going back to shorter periods or something similar. We've begged for this for the kids. And we've brought these attentions and we've brought these issues. And what I can give you through research by a board certified psychologist is that a student roughly can focus 4 minutes per biological year. An 8th grade student on average is 13 to 14 years old, which means their frontal lobe is only mature enough 52 to 64 minutes max. My daughter's in 6th grade. She can contribute 44 minutes. Why are we forcing students and teachers to remain in an 84-minute class when the research, or excuse me, other people's opinions, have been so clearly advised against this? Hasn't it been almost a decade that we've tried block scheduling without successful implementation, and why is it still being implemented? What are we waiting for to improve our schools for our kids? The average high school student manages 6 to 8 classes for 40 to 50 minutes. How are we preparing ours with a 3-period academic class in 84 minutes? Which leads to my last concern. Why are we doing absolutely nothing about allowing children to be rewarded in class half credit for no work? I get asked to increase the rigor of my questions and teaching styles daily as I sit through every in-service. What about teaching consequences or deadlines or increasing the students' rigor? It's certainly not realistic, but our students are learning to get half of something for doing absolutely nothing. This isn't going to help them in the workforce or even in their interpersonal relationships. And we as teachers and adults are supposed to be modeling that behavior and teaching them in a safe environment. So I tell you now, again, I'm an 8th grade teacher, and I certainly hope that after I stand up here and I stand up for my kids and my kids, that I remain as such for my remaining time here as an educator. I love what I do. However, due to administrative demands and choices to ignore us as teachers, I'm already looking at career number 2. And may I point out that I said 7 more years before I can retire, and I'm certainly not the first to walk before I can. My child, as well as everyone else's, deserves to grow and learn in a safe school district where children and educators alike are appreciated, challenged, heard, and supported. As children begin to show up with weapons, drugs, and behaving dangerously, I wonder when was the last time our district had a risk assessment completed. I encourage you to review your policies in grading, behavior, discipline, and the expectations within our district. And I know this may sound a little egocentric, and I do apologize for that. But I've worked so very hard for so very long, and I am darn good at what I do, and I make a difference. And with a national teacher shortage, this district can't afford to lose teachers like me, unrequited, who go the extra mile day after day for our kids. So yes, it pains me to say this, but I'm going to work now. I can't remember the last day I went to school. And given the current situation of our schools 8 years ago, I would have purchased my home elsewhere.
My name is Teresa Saravia of Swartzel, and I live in Aspen Woods. I've also been a substitute teacher here in the district for about 8 years. Went through ESS and Kelly and jumped through all those hoops. Hired by the district finally, and I've been serving in long-term positions for several years. Thank you for finally recognizing that as a long-term substitute, we're a little different than a building substitute because we are stepping into the role of a teacher. Still, just asking for a little bit more. The other day, I came in for parent-teacher conferences, and I said, "Hey, do I get to put in 2 hours for getting paid?" And they said, "No, that's included with your little bit of raise that we gave you." I'm 20 years ago. I'm gonna date myself. I started teaching, and I was in a long-term position twice. They paid me a teacher salary, and I was just contracted for those 6 months, maybe those 3 months that I worked. But a teacher salary. Long-term subs are not being paid teacher salaries, even if they have the credentials, even if they're certified, and they're being asked to do everything the teachers are doing. I have to grade. I have to make lesson plans. I have to make programs for my kids, grade their papers, make faculty meetings, go to the in-service so I can get more information on these programs that I'm supposed to be teaching. I do observations, behavior plans. I go to SOS meetings. I go to the IEP meetings for my students with special needs. And all of this, and I'm only compensated a little bit more than a building sub. It's a lot of work that I put in. I come home and I bring home work, yes, because I don't have enough hours in the day. I have to either be at a PLC meeting or meet with other teachers and discuss what our plans are. I don't have all of that time. Recess duty. Yes, I have my lunch for 30 minutes. Thank you. I just wanted to express my opinion on how I feel, and a lot of the other substitutes are feeling that way too. Thank you.
Okay, okay, thank you. Just wanted to say, I understand. I worked for Gloucester Township School District for 25 years. I was a secretary. And so I understand where you're coming from. But unfortunately, at this time, we can't discuss anything along that line because it is negotiations. And unfortunately, we can't discuss that. Publicly, yes, publicly. No, but believe me, we are working, we're trying to get everything situated, but publicly, we cannot discuss this. So at this time, we are going to do board comments. And because we do have to go back into executive and because unfortunately, we did not get finished what we had planned in the beginning. So anyone have board comments that would like?
I do. I would just like to clarify, check number 128976. I was also going to change my vote. I would never not let that check pass. I just did fast snap incorrectly. So I apologize for that.
You're not changing your vote though.
No, I'm not, just because it passed. but-
She still could,
Well, sometimes.
but he's.
We're okay.
Yeah.
I'm saying any board member before the gavel hits, you have the right to change your vote.
Right.
So that's all.
No, I'll,
Yeah, I know.
I stay.
Sounds good. It passed.
It passed. That's what's important.
Anyone else? Board comment?
I do. Mr. Villadelle.
Yes, ma'am.
So I probably should have brought this up during minutes, but last month, someone asked a question regarding the administration roof and asked about the warranty. You said 20 years. There is tons of information on those minutes regarding what it costs, the different labor breakdown, material, all of these things. The warranty's not there. Can we put in the future, I'm not asking to go back and change it, but in the future, when we're putting all of that information, can we put the warranty information as well?
Yeah.
That way, when people go back to research something, it's there. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. I wish people wouldn't leave because I would love to talk to them. So I appreciate you guys all coming out. I want to tell you that my husband is a retired union carpenter at a local 50 Philadelphia. I live off of a union pension. I live off of union benefits and appreciate it. So when you come here, I appreciate where you come from because I do get it. As a board, we absolutely care about you. And we also care about the non-represented people as well. And we have to look at all of them. We cannot talk about things that are going on publicly, and I wish we could. But we heard what you said, and we are looking at everything, just so you know. I appreciate you guys coming out and packing a room. I love a packed boardroom. Thank you.
Can I say something before we're?
Sorry, board member comments.
Listen, we're a board member.
We're a board member
Close
comments.
the public portion. So we can't. It's in public.
There you go. That explains a lot. Each and every one of these are paid by the township.
We don't get paid.
We do not get paid.
We don't get paid.
When
Get 100%.
union workers, everybody should have a say in what goes on. No one.
You did have a say in
no one
public
Yeah.
should
comment.
be Offered an increase without the whole bargaining unit getting the same.
Sorry, you did have a chance. Thank you.
Very important.
All right, anyone else?
I just want to say thank you for everybody that came out. I do hear you, and I don't want you to think that I don't hear you as well as this board. The teachers, I hear you. The secretaries, custodial staff, cafeteria, all involved, we hear you. As we said, we can't speak about it right now, but we do hear you, and I don't want you to think that we do not hear you. My two kids went through this district. I have to say, no disrespect to anybody that's here now in administration, things were different. And I would like them to go back to the way they were.
Anyone else? Yeah.
I just wanted to congratulate all the star students that had come out this evening, and I wanted to also thank everybody out for coming out, raising their concerns today.
And I want to thank everybody else for coming out as well, and we do hear you. Another thing, completely different topic, but in 1876, the microphone was patented first, right? And we're in 2023, and it would be nice to be able to have a microphone for everybody to be able to hear. Thank you for coming out. We hear you.
Anyone else?
Go back into executive session.
Can I have a motion, please, to go back to executive session?
I'll take over. Before we take the vote, everybody. Before we take the vote, we are still on 11 items. As discussed before, an action may be taken after the executive session, particularly the item passed over in the superintendent. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Mrs. Forsythe, could you please do a roll call?
Stantino,
Yes,
Ms. Fritz,
Here.
I'm here.
Mr. Gibbons,
Here.
Mrs. Filch,
Present.
Mr. Marks,
I'm still here.
Ms. Priest,
Here.
Ms. O'Donnell,
I'm here.
and Mrs. Johnson.
Here. Okay, so under new business,
We're gonna go back to 6.4D.
6.4D.
Yes. Are we doing them separate?
Mr. Wall, didn't we read them all in and then do a consent resolution?
Sure.
Do everyone want to hear these? Can I bore everyone? It would be 6.4D from the regular agenda in pink. Okay. It would also be a resolution. Superintendent recommends approval of John Hughes as payroll. Is it specialist, Kathy?
Special chef.
Payroll specialist. Thank you. At a salary of $63,000 per year, prorated. The effective start date will be as soon as all required paperwork, fingerprinting, and onboarding procedures are complete. That's the third item. Would be to recommend canceling the April 24th regular board meeting and schedule the April regular meeting to be held on April 17th, Monday, April 17th, beginning 6 p.m. That will remain at the board office. And the fourth item is be it resolved to schedule a special meeting of the board. It will be the public hearing on the annual school budget. And that will be held on May 1st, 6 p.m. at the board office.
I'm sorry, May what?
May 1, Monday, May 1st, 6 p.m. board office. It will be expressly for the public hearing and formal adoption of 23-24 school budget. So I would need a resolution to have a consent resolution 6.4D. The payroll specialist cancel the meeting and reschedule it for the 17th. That would be the April regular meeting of the board, and to schedule the public hearing on the budget for May 1st, 6 p.m. at the board office.
Are there any questions, discussions?
No.
Can I have a roll call, please?
Oh, any motion?
Oh, we need a motion.
Motion is
I'll
second.
make it.
Second.
Who made the motion?
Linda Gilch made it.
No, Mrs. Reese made it and Mr. Marks.
Been a long night.
They have extra money for hearing aids. Ellen's chipping in too.
The record reflect that you were kidding.
Mr. Long, there will only be 8 people present at the next meeting.
You get punchy at this time.
Okay, are we ready?
In a minute. I don't, are we ready, Mrs. Gilch?
Any questions?
No questions.
Comments? Roll call, please.
Ms. Stantino?
Yes.
Mrs. Fritz?
Yes.
Mr. Gibbons?
Yes.
Ms. Gilch?
Yes.
Mr. Marks?
Yes.
Mrs. Reese?
Yes.
Ms. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
Motion adjourned.
Motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Second.
Aye.
Mrs.
All
Gilch,
in
all in
Gibbons.
favor?
Did I say it now?
Anybody says no.